What's up, everybody? My name is Dell. This is Dell on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. And we are back for another episode of Movie Swap. And tonight is a pretty big one because I've been on this gentleman's channel often, at least 4 or 5 times. I've lost count. He has a great channel. He's built up a great following pretty much from the ground up, and I've loved watching it grow. And he's got all the personality and charisma to go with it. And I'm talking about none other than Mega Mike, the movie man. What's up, Mega Mike?
Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for having me tonight. It's exciting to be in a new place. It's like, ooh, this is
Yeah,
very cool.
absolutely, absolutely. And you get to relax on the guest side of things, not work the boards here tonight. So that is going to be, I guess, at least a somewhat relaxing show for you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. We talked just before we came on a little bit backstage, but in case anybody who's watching doesn't know, you had some big news that you shared with the world a couple weeks back. I'm just going to ask you to share it again if you don't mind.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna be a mega movie dad apparently by the end of November. So very exciting news. First time parent. So yeah, that's gonna be exciting and probably terrifying. So we'll see what happens with it all. But yeah,
Not now. I saw you on another stream and you revealed the gender,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that was a
Yes, a girl. So we'll be
that was
having a daughter. Yep.
so you get to be a girl dad right off the bat. Very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to it.
Yep, I'm sure many Disney princess movies probably.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, one of the things that you guys have been doing lately is the stream where I saw you first announce it. I actually saw it in the video. You did an out of theater reaction. You mentioned it. But um, one of the things is you have a little club going on with Tony at Basement Blues and uh, Tim Talks Talkies. And what's going on? How'd that club come about? The Collectors Club there.
Ooh, the Collectors Club. Yeah, we got Tim in there, Huck, Derek.
Huck,
So
I sorry, not Bob. I made a mistake. No, I mean, sorry, not Tony.
Uncle
Sorry.
Tony. Yeah. Hey, we'll take more the merrier, I always say. But yeah, this club started, oh man, it feels like it's been forever now, but I guess just a little over a year. And I kind of thought, okay, you know what? I see these different groups forming out there. That seems like a really cool idea to do some kind of live streams on a consistent basis, some type of collaboration projects. So let me go ahead and reach out to Huck and see, if he's interested in this and Tim as well. And let's get together with that. And then we added Derek in like an episode or two later, and then that's how the Collectors Club was formed. We wanted to talk collectibles, movies, and a whole bunch of other stuff just in kind of the movie fandom area. And so we've been pretty consistent. We do a couple shows a month. This week, well, actually, I guess last week, I did host a animation recommendation stream with the Collectors Club. So we recommended each other animated movies. Could be any animation style. We give our quick thoughts on it, had a few rants in there, which were super fun. So it was probably one of the most entertaining Collectors Club episodes, in my opinion. It was just a great time. And then in a couple weeks, we have another Collectors Club episode on my channel where we're going to be doing just the full-on standard Collectors Club animated theme edition episode, and that's going over collectibles, more recommendations, talking animated movies, TV shows, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's going to be super fun.
Okay. So is that the same episode? Are you guys going to talk about the recommendations you already made? You're going to watch those, or is
So
that
these are
another
going to be
stream?
new ones. So
Okay, I got you.
yeah, so pretty much the structure is, and it changes a little bit every time, but we have a few different areas in there. So, like, we'll go over collectibles that are animated theme, and I have a whole bunch of those to show off. So, I'm like, I can't show everything, that would be hundreds of stuff. So, let me pick
Right.
a few. So, we'll show those off. We'll also make a couple more recommendations. We'll talk about animated TV shows as well. So, really going everywhere in the animated realm. So it should be super fun. And then we'll probably let people know what's upcoming for the next recommendation stream, which Huck will be hosting the following one. So he'll let us know kind of what the theme of that one is and how we're going to get recommended titles on that one. So that should be really interesting.
Okay. So, do you have a favorite type of animation?
Ooh, stop motion. I just think
Ooh,
it's very difficult to do. I mean, you see the tough work that goes into, oh, let me move this little arm. All right, picture. Let me move it a little bit more.
yeah,
Picture. And just how they put that together that takes so many hours and months and years of work. You're like, oh my gosh, people actually took time to do this. It's like a miracle to me. But I just love the way they look too. I mean, you talk about all the like studio films. Oh my
mhm,
god, great storytelling and characters in those. But then going back to, Nightmare Before Christmas is probably
yeah.
my favorite. I just there's something so artistic about it. I love stop motion animation.
I hear you. Have you ever seen a movie called Jason and the Argonauts?
I have not, no.
It's not an animated movie, but it's a sword and sandal movies from the '60s.
Oh,
Ray Harryhausen did effects, and a lot of the creatures in that movie are done through stop motion animation. So it's a live action movie with
you
stop
know what?
motion.
I think I remember seeing that one way back in the day at school, actually. I think a
It makes
teacher
sense.
showed that one, and yeah, that's the one with the skeletons, right? And the skeletons
Yes,
fight? There
yes.
we go. So, man, I barely remember that one, though. I need to rewatch it again.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite of stop motion movies. Yeah, I grew up on it though. It was on TV all the time when I was a kid, and then sometime around when I was in my teenage years, it kind of stopped coming on. But I've always loved it. I've got it somewhere in the collection around here. But yeah, if you get a chance, you feel like watching something old and with some stop motion, that would be my great recommendation.
Yeah, I
So.
mean, that would look good too if they ever came out with a nice, like, 4K edition of that one. I could
Mhm.
see Arrow doing something like that. I mean, they're doing Clash and Wrath of the Titans. They did Conan. So, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
Why
and it's interesting. And you mentioned Clash of the Titans because when they first announced that title, I thought it was the OG one from the '80s, but it wasn't. It was the remake. Um,
Ooh, okay. I didn't even
it,
know that.
yeah, the one with was it Sam? What's his name? The one with the Clash and Wrath of the Titans. It was I can't remember
Mm.
the guy's name now.
See, I thought it was gonna be the classic one, but it's the newer ones.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's the newer
Alright.
one. I think it's the newer one. The
That
classic
makes
one is what I want. The newer ones they
Mhm.
could keep, but
Yeah, I don't even know if I've seen the new ones. I'm like, "Oh, all I remember is the classic one," and that's why I probably didn't even I'm like, "There was a sequel to that one? I didn't even know."
yeah, it was the new one had a sequel.
Mm.
The old one I don't think did have any kind of sequel or anything. And I'm gonna think of that guy's name at some point or look it up at some point. But because right now I'm just drawing a total blank on his name, and it's because I don't really like him as an actor. But but that's another story. All right, let's see who's hanging out with us. It looks like we got quite a few comments out here tonight. And Emmett, my guy, was first. What's up, Emmett? He says, "Hey, long time. It has been a long time. Haven't seen you over here. Did see you bump into you in someone else's chat the other night, so that's cool." My guy Steve Moody is here. What's going on, Steve? And the monkey looks like an intro. Let's pull it up here.
Ooh.
And as whose stream is this for? The one who loves a princess movie as much as a three while giving it a rant at the same time. The mega movie dad should be a shirt, Mike.
Hey, a 3 is a good score, and people don't understand that. I give a lot of 3s. Like, most of the time, if I get a recommendation, you should expect a 3 out of it. If you do better than a 3, you did really, really good. Like, you're dialed into my movie taste, but a 3 is the standard, "This is a well-made movie, but not my particular cup of tea where I wanna keep rewatching it." That's basically a 3. So I gave that to A Princess and a Frog, and yeah. And apparently they thought it was a rant. I'm like, that wasn't that much of a rant. I gave the pros and the cons. Maybe there were a few more cons, but I'm like, I don't consider that a rant necessarily.
I'm a pretty big fan of Princess and the Frog, and actually, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that stream because I think I was on live myself that night, and I didn't go back. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. But as far as the grading goes, I generally agree with you. Three is where I cut it off. Is three is I liked it. Two and a half and under, I didn't, and that's kind of where I fall. And it just translates to 6 out of 10, and that's a decent movie.
Yeah,
So
exactly. If you
yeah,
get a 2 from me, that's like, "Oh my gosh, that's a bad movie." A 2 to me is a bad movie, so it doesn't come up that often, and usually you won't get a 1 from me. Like, if you get a 1 from me, you did something terribly wrong. There's probably, like, 10 movies of all time that I've seen that have gotten a 1 from me, so
I can be a little harsher. So I've gotten a lot more ones, but I understand. I understand the sentiment. Bonnie is here. She says
Ooh,
hi to
Mama
both of us.
Blue!
Hey, Bonnie. So glad to see you here. And I fluffed her daughter, of course, is Sue of Movies and Sue. And I talked last time I talked about it, I fluffed that name. I was like, Sue's movie, Sue in this. And I just tore it all up. But I got it. Movies and Sue, who's always awesome. Holland is here, so we know it's official now. What's going on, Holland? Mika is here. Says,
Oh,
"Congrats, Mike. That's
Mika.
awesome, girl." Dad, yes, absolutely.
Thank you, thank you.
And then she says, "Hey to the rest of us. Hey to everyone. Very cool." Corey of Wilkie's Movies and Music says, "Sorry I can't stay, but wanted to say hi. I'll catch the replay." Well, thank you for stopping by, Corey. Really appreciate it, and very happy to see Corey's channel doing well. Spicy is here. He says, "Congrats to you,"
Thank you.
and just fixing the spelling on your name, which was always appreciated.
You misspelled Mike, it's 4 letters.
Well, if he's like me, sometimes your fingers just do what they want to do. That's how that happens sometimes. Emmett say, "Hey, is it creepy for a McDonald's bag to be delivered on your doorstep, finger for days, but doesn't say I have no name on it?" Okay, that sounds a bit creepy. I'm not sure what's happening there. Check with your local Uber Eat driver or
I know.
DoorDasher. I'm
Wrong
not sure what's
delivery, it
happening.
got to the wrong place, is that what it is?
Sounds like it, right? Sounds like it. Monkey, P.S. I knew Mega Mike would do a Home Alone face, would do a thumbnail sooner or later. Oh,
Uh,
it was a great thumbnail. And I actually just ripped it from one of his own thumbnails, one of your own thumbnails. So, and I guess it's okay because you didn't complain. So we're good.
oh, no, of course, absolutely.
Of course, we got a lot of people saying hi to each other. And as my guy T says, "Have you seen that with T is the name of his channel? Great channel." He says, "Good evening, everyone. I recently discovered his channel through Kenny Sparks and Zach Attack Reviews, who were both recent guests on the show. I want to get T up here at some point. So yeah, go check out his channel and check out a lot of channels. Most of the people in the chat have their own YouTube channel. So yeah, check out each other if you have not already, and let's get T some more subscribers. Emmett, do you guys have tickets for Deadpool and Wolverine? Not yet. I don't have mine yet. Do you have yours yet, Mike?
No, I'm gonna wait till probably the day of. I know it's gonna be a busy movie for the summer, and it's supposed to do well at the box office, but I don't think my theater is gonna be sold out. I think I'm gonna be able to get a ticket. I don't know, I'll be shocked because my theaters have had, like, nobody there, so even for a large movie like this one coming up, I still think there's gonna be available tickets.
I'm in that same ballpark because what happens with these Marvel movies, especially, is there's so many showings in so many
Yeah.
different theaters that first weekend that and generally my wife and I we go on Sundays most of the time, so it's pretty easy usually to find a couple of seats on a Sunday.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm not in a rush. In general, though, I know I was just on your channel not long ago. We did the whole superhero stream, and so what's your excitement level for Deadpool Wolverine?
I'm casually excited. It's a superhero movie. I love superhero movies. It's my go-to genre, so I'm sure I'm gonna like it. But is it gonna be my favorite superhero movie of all time? I doubt it. Like, I really like Deadpool 1 and 2, but both of those aren't even in my probably top 10 lists. So I don't think this one's gonna make it to that level, but I like it. I'm sure it'll be great.
Okay, okay, I'm I like Deadpool a little more than you. It sounds like so. I wouldn't say they're top 10. Maybe the first one might be top 10, but they're but this one I'm kind of cautiously optimistic because of the way the MCU has been going lately. We'll
I know, we
see.
need to recover after you have Thor: Love and Thunder and the Marvels, it's like, we need some recovery now.
Right, exactly. So this year is the only MCU movie, so that'd be cool. Give them a chance to reboot things. I do have another MCU question I'm going to ask you about uh, after I get through a few more of these. Kenny Sparks is here. I just mentioned him. What's going on, Kenny? He
Oh,
says, "Hey, family."
hey.
And just because Kenny's watching and I know where he's from, I'm going to say, "Go Giants." And 80s kid from the 90s. He said, "What's up? What's up?" I think this is his first time here in my stream. I've also seen him in other streams. Adrian is here. What's going on?
Adrian.
Thank you. And T answered the question for me. Sam Worthington is in the Clash of the Titans and
Mm,
Wrath of the Titans. And yeah, I do not like him. He's just Captain Bland as far as I'm concerned. And I know for a time, right around that time, they were really trying to make him a big star, and it just wasn't working because he just doesn't really have it. So, at least in my opinion, but who am I?
KB.
KB is here. KB says, "Party people, brother Dell and Mike." All right, and we again more people saying hi to each other. So let's. I'm gonna look for more people who are popping in, but let's go ahead and ask that other question. I do have one more that popped in. Jane Doe has
Oh,
popped in. That is John Doe Juggalo's mom, Jane. For anybody who doesn't know, and she says one when we can say a big hello to her. All right, so my question is MCU question. My last one. Blade has been going through all sorts of drama and problems. They just lost the director. They're losing every other day. It seems like they're losing something or something's happening. What do you think is ultimately going to happen with this movie?
oh gosh. At this point, they just need to stop it. No, we don't need a Blade at this moment. Wait another 10 years. They already messed up this one. Like, when you lose so many directors, like, what is this, the fourth or fifth director they've lost
It's
now?
something like that. Yeah, it seems
Writers,
like
like, how many writers are they losing? I don't want a script that has gone through 20 different writers. That's going to be a terrible story. And we've heard some of the stories that they've been saying and kind of the rumor mill area. You're like, what the heck? That doesn't even sound like Blade. Why is Blade the fourth main character in his own movie? This makes no sense. So if they're gonna go any direction with that, no, just no at this point. Yeah, they should have striked when the iron was hot, right when they made the announcement of the main actor, and they just took way too long. So at this point, I'm not even excited for it at this point. I
got
would
you.
love a good Blade movie though, and Blade should be so simple. Action movie, he kills vampires, done. Don't overcomplicate it, just do that. I don't
That
know how do they mess that up. I don't get it.
that's what I said. Someone asked me about it the other night. It was the same thing. It's like, how do we mess this up? Just Mahershala Ali with a sword kills vampires. We should be pretty easy to do, but not. Caprice is here. She said, "Hello, my darlings. Hello, Dell and Mega Mike." And Dimension Scott has also popped in.
To mention.
Dimension's been doing well on the gaming side of things, so check him out if you are a gamer. So I am not much of a gamer anymore. Matter of fact, I'm not a gamer at all anymore. Not in like 20 years. So, but if you are a gamer, check him out for sure. And Kenny responded to me. He says, "Boo, fly, Eagles fly." And has anyone heard about Brad Bird's new upcoming animated film called Ray Gun? I have not heard about this. Have you heard
No,
about this?
have not.
Okay, so I know nothing about Ray Gun. And he also says, "I noticed that Lasseter is in charge of Skydance Animation, which is very interesting." Yeah, that is Blade's a fake movie.
Not real. It's not real.
It
I'll believe
seemed
it
like
when
it,
I see
right?
it, right?
Seemed like they're pulling out collective leg. Movie Collective Maniac is here. What's going on? He says, "Hello, Dell and Mike." And this is, "Are y'all checking out the Bike Riders of Kindness or Thelma this weekend?" This weekend, I will not be going to a theater, though I will at some point see all three of those. How about yourself, Mike?
I do wanna see the bike riders, depending on when the stream gets done, I might see it tonight even, so that's on my radar.
Okay.
Kind of Kindness, I'm sort of interested in, but I don't know. Poor Things, I liked it for what it was, but then also it's not really in my cup of tea area. So it
Yeah,
was
right.
really interesting, a mix of a movie. Thelma, actually, I do want to see Thelma this weekend. I'm gonna go visit my mom. I think that's the one I'll probably take her to because that looks just like a fun action comedy. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Tony from Blazeman Blues is here. What's going on, Tony?
Woo-wee.
And Kenny, I just got home from the bike riders. I thought it was solid. Okay,
Oh, good.
cool.
That's good news.
And this one's going to be the last chat, so we can actually get started on what we're here to talk about. The monkey says for Mega Movie Dad, I want him to know I am a huge fan of your media media duding rant. It was a an amazing video, and you made the topic make sense.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and actually get to the reason why we're here. Mike, tell people the movie that you had me watch for tonight's movie swap.
So I was shocked when I found out, Dell, you have not seen this movie until now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought everybody have seen this one. And I recommended you the greatest Western of all time, which is probably like my eighth favorite movie of all time. You gotta have Holes, right? Amazing classic right here. Oh my gosh, Holes is beautiful. Oh, this movie was so good. Okay, Holes. If you haven't seen Holes, you got to check this one out. It has an all-star cast. First of all, you got Shia LaBeouf in there, Patricia Arquette, Sigourney Weaver, and just more than that even. But it's a really fun, entertaining movie. I call it an everything type of movie. You got a adventure story in there. You have some comedy. You have the Western elements. It's good for the whole family. The whole family can watch it, no problem. It's a Disney title, of course. Uh, oh, and it probably has the best use of flashbacks, in my opinion, too. But basically, you have Shia LaBeouf, the main character. Something happens. He has basically a curse on his family, so he gets struck with a lot of bad luck. He ends up at a kind of a, I guess, a reform type of camp for youngsters that get in trouble. And he goes to Camp Green Lake. He starts to meet these different friends. And so it's kind of a coming of age story, too. But he meets these different people in the camp. They're digging holes. They're looking for some. Well, they don't know what they're looking for. It's told they are trying to build some character. So they're digging holes, of course. And then you see how it kind of unravels and how the past history is pieced together and tied in. But that's kind of the basics. I don't know, Dell, if you want me to get too much into it, you want me to spoil stuff or whatnot. But
Well, we can pause right there, and we're gonna kind of work through the movie,
yeah,
kind of, sorta. So, and I do want to say this: I hadn't seen it, but my daughters had seen it. So it was one of those things that they must have, I must have put on when I was doing something else, and and let them watch, and so they've seen it. But I hadn't, and so I put it on, and I didn't know anything about the movie as far as plot wise goes, other than they were digging holes. Um, and so it was interesting going into the movie because, like I said, I knew nothing plot wise about it. All I knew is there were holes. So okay, let's see what this is about. And right off the bat, I wasn't quite sure still what was going on because we meet Shia LaBeouf's character. He's kind of walking down the street, gets hit in the head with a pair of shoes. It's come flying out of nowhere, and then he winds up. They said he stole the shoes. He winds up in not really juvie, but like you said, a camp, and they're just made to dig these holes to build character.
you got to build character, like Mister Sir said.
Got to build character. How do you feel about the gang of fellow inmates? I guess you would call him when he gets there. How do you feel about those guys?
Oh my gosh, they're awesome. They all have fun nicknames and unique personalities. Like there's Squid and Zigzag and X-Ray and Armpit is the mentor of Shia LaBeouf's character. You have Zero, where they're like, "Oh, nothing's going on in Zero's head, right?" Because he doesn't talk to anybody. Basically, he ends up later talking to Shia LaBeouf's character, who becomes Caveman. But yeah, he just meets this. Well, I mean, I guess they're kind of mean to him at the beginning, but they become friends soon enough once he gets the nickname and all that, and they kind of stick up with each other. And I guess it's a little bit of an initiation at the beginning, but yeah, they're D10. And they're awesome though. I think they're a good cast of characters, and they're all different and unique. That's what I like. You can see their different personalities shine through. None of them are boring, which I liked. Did you like that about it too, Del? What do
Yeah,
you
I,
think?
I like that they definitely all had their own personality and they all had their own kind of role. Honestly, though, I wanted a little more from them, as a little more depth from them, because it kind of got to the point where in some movies when you get a large cast,
Yeah,
when sometimes you can almost predict what a person is going to say or do, and I got a little bit of that, except it gave me a little bit of whiplash because, like you said, they were mean to him at first, but then they were nice, and then they were mean to him again. So it was kind of a weird dynamic there. But I did enjoy their presence on the screen, so that was a plus overall. Um, then, of course, he meets the caretakers, and first one we meet, I think, is John Voight,
yeah. That's
who's
Mr. Sir, right?
Mr. Sir. And I just glanced over at my notes, and one of the things I wrote down about him is he is chewing so much scenery in this movie. But it's a blast. I really did enjoy him because he was full tilt. How'd you feel about Mr. Voight?
Oh my gosh, he is hilarious in this one. And like he tries to hand the prison guard a Coke, and Shia LaBeouf tries to take it. He's like, "Oh, sneaky, sneaky, right?
Right.
Let me
Yeah.
give you
Yeah.
that Coke now." Um, but yeah, he has a large personality in this one. He basically keeps all of them in line, make sure they're digging their holes, and if you mess with him, oh, he's gonna come at you. And then he also takes care of the yellow spotted lizards. He's like, I won't waste a bullet on you. These are for the yellow spotted lizards. And so he just terrifies Shia LaBeouf's character right at first. Yeah, Stanley Yelnats, that's his name. But he just terrifies him. But it's like you can run away if you want. We're the only oasis here. We got the water for 100 miles. Run away. The buzzards will pick you clean.
Right. Right. Right.
He's just stern and ready to go right away. And I love he's I'm Mr. Sir, you will call me by my name.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Sir.
That and the other guy that was with them called him Mom, right? Was the
Yeah,
other guy they called him? Uh,
Dr. Palancy or something like that.
right, right. And he was driving. Usually, he was driving the truck. Basically, had a big water tank on the back, and he had a great line right at the beginning when he first meets Shia LaBeouf's character Stanley, aka Caveman. He asks him, "Are you thirsty?" And he says, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, you're gonna be thirsty for the next 18 months," and just kind of sends him on to go dig his hole. And yeah, I thought that was pretty good. And then we get after a little bit of spending some time, we get some of the first flashbacks. We get Patricia Arquette showing up in a flashback as kissing Kate, and she is apparently the one. Well, they at first they kind of pose it like she's the one responsible for the curse, where she didn't. She ran into Stanley's great 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 granddad, and then a little while later we meet Eartha Kitt, who is I don't know if she was a voodoo lady, a psychic, or what she was.
Madame Zerodi.
Yeah, that was her name. She's Madame Zeroni, and we find out that basically she placed the curse on Stanley's family
Mhm.
that you were talking about, and that's not a huge spoiler. So that's just kind of what propels the plot forward. And then that first flashback happens. If you can think back to the first time you saw it, what were you thinking at that point, or what do you remember thinking at that point when we get the first flashback for the first time?
Well, at first, I'm like, "Oh, flashback here," because I'm usually not a big fan of flashbacks in general. I think sometimes when you jump around too much with time in a movie, it can get really confusing, the plot can get convoluted. But in this one, I don't know, it was seamless to me, so it jumps you back to, I guess, old Western time. You have Patricia Arquette, who is, like, the nice school teacher lady. You can see that she meets, Sam, who Sam is, like, a onion person, he sells onions, and he got his Mary Lou horse next to him, so you can see they're having a little spark going, a little, I guess, a flirtmance right there. But I love the music with it all, and like I said, I love romance in movies, so that was just like enough to be like, "Ooh, I kind of want to see what happens with these characters right here." So that was fun going back to an old western cowboy type of town.
Yeah, that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that at all, and the Roman barely hinted at right out the gate, and we get it in another flashback a little while later, and we eventually we get back to the boys and the digging the holes and watching their relationship develop and all that, and eventually we actually meet the warden of this place, and that is played by Sigourney Weaver. And was she more or less terrifying than John Voight's character, you
Oh
think?
my gosh. Well, when she shows up, you know she means business. So eventually you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, she is even more terrifying. Like Mr. Sir, I guess he's kind of more like a big teddy bear type of level where he puts up a front, but I think a little bit softer on lens. But Sigourney Weaver's character, the more you learn about her, you're like, oh my gosh, there's just something deep and hidden in her, like some type of anger and frustration she has. And there's that moment, you know, where she scratches your Mr. Sir, and you're like, oh my, when that happens, you're, oh my gosh, I'm just yeah, she's terrifying. You do not want to mess with the warden. The warden owns the shade, right? She has her like
Right,
own little cabin with the shade on.
right, right. Now I'm gonna agree with you because with John Voight's character and even the mom character, it's they're doing a lot of hooting and hollering, right? And so they're making a big show of their power, but she doesn't really do that. Not at first. It takes her a while to get worked up to that. But she just kind of shows up and everybody just kind of snaps to and starts acting the way they're supposed to act and all that kind of thing. And she's got a kind of, she just feels powerful. Let me put it that way. And she's nice, but in a way that she means business.
Oh yeah.
So I thought she gave a really great performance as well in her role. So that was cool. I didn't mention we've mentioned some names already, bigger things after this. And then of course we had Henry Winkler plays his dad, and yeah, so we got a lot of names in the cast. So that was cool to see. And now, how do you think the comedy came across, or was it funny for you? Or was this a real serious? I'm just in there with for this ride kind of movie.
So when I first watched this one, I didn't even realize it was supposed to be a comedy. But
Hmm.
going back to it years later, and you look up information, they'll say it's a family comedy for the type of genre. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. I used to
Right.
take it seriously as a kid. Like, this is a very stressful situation right here, okay? But I guess you could see the comedy now where it's not really laugh out loud type of funny. It's not trying to be a hilarious kind of comedy, but I guess there's more moments where you'll smile or you'll chuckle. Um, so I would say it's that kind of comedy level. I wouldn't go into it saying, "Oh, expect an amazing rolling around laughing type of comedy." So it's just kind of huddle, little subtle hints of comedy, I would say.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm kind of like yeah, I'm with you on that because it was one of those things where I'm looking at the Disney logo and I watched it on Disney Plus actually. So it was like I was expecting a little more comedy, but it wasn't that kind of movie really. It just had a few moments here and there, and they tried to get some comedy out through the kids, every now and again. But it wasn't one that was supposed to just make you laugh out loud a whole lot in throughout the movie. It just wasn't supposed to really do that. So I appreciated that it didn't really try too hard in the laughs area. It was really trying to tell its story. Um, and you mentioned that it's seamless as the way they work in the flashbacks, in your opinion. And I'm going to come back to the more specifics on the flashbacks in a moment. But a part that I thought was not seamless was Stanley's family. I thought that just kind of stuck out like a sore thumb to me. How did you feel about them and where they fit into this whole puzzle?
Well, I did like the family, like you mentioned. I mean, the cast there is great with Henry Winkler and whatnot. But you needed them to establish the curse, right? How the curse, goes through all of them, the men in the family. So I thought they had some good moments with that, where they're singing at the table, and the mom's getting mad, like, don't sing that at my table about the curse and all that.
Right,
But
right,
I thought that was important, and then also you need that to establish their all name Stanley Yelnats. So Shia LaBeouf's character is like Stanley Yelnats, what, the
right.
third or fourth? So you do need
So
that, but that does come back later on, when they make
it
the
does,
reveal.
and I guess what I'm saying is, it's not that they weren't important. I just thought the way they were kind of shoehorned in, it just felt like an afterthought the way they did it. So it just didn't. It wasn't as seamless as the other parts of the story. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know. I've never had an issue with it. And he's writing to his mom, and I thought the letters were really endearing because he's like totally lying in the letters. He's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, we had a great time at the lake today. Everybody's awesome here. You love our counselors." He's like totally lying.
yeah.
I thought
So
that was kind of funny.
yeah, philosophical question: would you lie in your letters if that were you?
No, man, I would've been straight up. I'm like, "These wizards trying to kill us out here. These Mr. Sir, he's acting wild. Like,
Yeah,
report
yeah,
them
yeah.
right now."
Yeah, they were yeah, I'm with you. I'm like, "Mom, you gotta get me out of here. This is not working." All right, I'm just gonna pop in and see if anybody's saying anything about the movies. I did see a couple of comments went by. One in particular, Caprice was saying that she agreed with you about what's going on with Blade and how to handle it. So and I do have someone who popped in here, Cece Clemens, another recent guest. She says, hey, Cece. And just kind of again going down, see if anybody is talking about either the movies. Someone is going to go see Thelma though. Mika and her sister Kira planning on seeing it. And was the animated movie Leo any good? I haven't watched Leo yet. Have you watched Leo yet?
Have not.
Okay, I know it's on Netflix, but I haven't
Yeah,
watched it
that makes
yet.
me not wanna watch it. I'm like, Netflix original, do I
It's
wanna
hit and
start
miss, hit and miss. Some are good, some are bad. At least I think so. Thelma and Kinds of Kindness are not in my area, just bike riders this evening, so they're not getting full wide releases. And we do have some information on Raygun. Ray created alongside Matthew Robbins, reportedly the story of the last human private detective, Raymond Gunn. Okay, so it's futuristic. I'm assuming if he's the last human private detective.
oh,
And there we go. Holes is a classic. There we go.
it's so good.
And LOL at the Holes hype up. He said best Western, and I thought he was about to say Unforgiven.
Oh
LOL.
gosh, I'm not a fan of Unforgiven. I'm not a Western person, like, Westerns are not my go-to genre. Like, this is the only Western I love. I don't know, most Westerns, I just can't do it. Like, there's a few in there I like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, I'm like, all these other Westerns, they feel the same. Like, the personalities feel the same, it's a bunch of sand, it's like the same plot. I
I hear you, but Unforgiven is an awesome one. I would check that out. That has actually been covered on Movie Swap already. I did that some months back. I had a guest on there that I showed them Unforgiven. OMG Holes, so Caprice likes
yeah.
Holes. And yeah, we got the Stanley Yell Nats. All right. Down in the valley, down to the valley. Okay. Kenny, I've only seen scenes from Holes. I've never seen it start to
Oh my
finish.
gosh, it's an easy watch too, don't take too much of your time.
Well, let's talk about that time. Let's talk about that time. It's 2 hours long. Why is this 2 hours long?
Oh,
Go
you
for it.
felt the 2 hours. See, I had to look up the runtime, and I'm like, "Wait, it gets close to 2 hours." I think it's like 1:57. I never
Yeah,
thought it felt 2 hours. To me, it always felt like a hour 30 to hour 45. But you felt the time on it then. Oh, that's not a good
I,
sign.
I did feel the time on it a little bit. I was like, and okay, here's where I felt the time is when we went back to present day, and which is 2003 technically when the movie came out, and we're with the kids. I thought that dragged on a little long because it just felt like a repeat of the last time we were with the kids. So that's where I kind of felt, or not, if not a repeat, then a very predictable path. So that's where I felt the runtime. The flashback scenes, on the other hand, I was very intrigued through those, so I really like those. I'm with you on the flashbacks. They did a fantastic job on those, and yeah, in a minute we're gonna dig a little bit deeper into those flashbacks. But it definitely has my favorite meme of all time, movie meme. I'm not sure which meme, unless it's the one. The only one I could think of is where they just have all the kids looking in the hole at something, and then there's some description of something. Maybe I don't know. Holes is a classic. I remember watching it in school. So lots of love for Holes out there. So I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn bad. Yeah.
I love that. This movie has some of the most memorable lines ever. Oh, that was such a good one.
Yeah, it was with broken hands and withered souls. Yep. More lines and Caprice laughing at Kenny Sparks's lines. I got no respect because I'm the new man. Yeah, that was
The
another one.
music is so good in this too. We haven't even touched on the music, but when they do like their like rap songs together with D-Tent, oh,
Hmm.
I'm like, this music's awesome. You don't see
Hmm.
that all the time, so yeah, I really like that.
All right. And CC agreed, best meme ever.
Yep.
And then got my shovel, shoes full of sand. Check out the names, caveman. Yeah,
I think it's a great
that's what you're
song.
talking about. All right. So I'm gonna come back to the chat in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and power through this here, the rest of this. So in those flashbacks, we meet Sam. Sam is the guy who's selling the onions. I initially called him an onion, no, a lizard oil salesman because he's got all these things that lizard oil can do this and lizard juice can do
Grow the
that.
hair and all that, yep.
Yeah, he's selling it as everything. And then of course he has these onions that he's selling. And Patricia Arquette, she's the local teacher in the one room schoolhouse. And of course, there's a bunch of adults there who are trying to learn to read, but they're also trying to hit on her and flirt with her
Oh, yeah.
and that kind of thing. Sam, of course, has a liking for her, and she doesn't really have a liking for him at first, but she doesn't dislike him. And she finds him kind of charming, but also realizes, hey, Sam knows how to fix stuff. So she kind of gets Sam to fix everything. So,
See, I felt the spark right away, and I'm like, "Oh, she wants him to fix stuff so he can hang around and, like, she can see him," and, like, I felt it was more like she wants to be around him type of thing rather than, "Oh, I do really
okay,
need to fix." I
that's
thought
a
that
way
was
to
just an added bonus.
now that's a way to look at it, and maybe I'm just too much of a cynic because I was like, okay, she's just using this guy for free labor. What is happening here? He's gonna stay in the friend zone forever and ever if this were real life. I knew the movie was gonna go there, but I was like, in real life, this guy's friend zone material all day, every
Man, I thought she was all hot for him right away. She was looking at him. I felt it.
day. So they eventually some real sparks, or a little sooner, in your opinion. So they get together, and the part this is where the movie didn't lose me, but I was a little disappointed that it didn't go fully in the direction that it was going. And what I mean by that is, yes, what we're talking about here is we're in the 1800s here with these flashbacks. Sam is the only black person in town. He's the only one in within miles and miles and miles of this place. And of course, he's gotten the eye and then now the hand of Patricia Arquette's character, Kate, kissing Kate, as she will eventually become to known. And once it becomes known amongst the townspeople, everything just flies off the handle. For me, as an older viewer and as a black person, I can clearly see why they're doing it, and there are a couple of lines alluding to why they're doing it. But knowing that the target audience was much younger, they never explicitly say, and it feels like a cop out to me. So I don't know if you get that at all, or how you feel about that situation.
Yeah, so I did like the social commentary in this one, and I actually probably didn't even realize it when I was younger. But seeing it again multiple times, being older now, you totally pick up on it. I think it's very subtle. Like you said, they don't really go hard into it, but I think it's enough there to where if you're an adult, okay, you know what's going on, you're picking up on it. And it is a Disney family movie too. So how much do they want to go into it on a deeper level. I mean, they're doing so much with the plot already. So I thought they touched on it enough. Um, but yeah, that's just me. I think they had enough in there, but like you said, they don't go deeper into it. But once again, it's what a PG Disney family movie.
Yeah, and I didn't want like a deep dive exploration into it. I really just wanted one or two lines of dialogue to clear it up because like the one line they really gave was when when the guy who ran the town, he was kind of getting on her about being with Sam, and she said it's not illegal for me to love him, but then he said it is illegal for him to love you. Now, at that point, if I'm a younger person watching this, I may not understand why,
Hmm.
right? So I really just wanted one line of dialogue to explain why. I didn't want I didn't want a deep dive exploration. I didn't want to turn this into a depressing exploration into racism or anything like that. But I did want just that one line of dialogue to just clear it up for kids who might not have picked up on it. Because I think it is important to at least understand what's really happening with the movie. Because otherwise, what you get is perfectly fine movie because you can frame everything as in it's just it's a forbidden love, but you don't know why it's forbidden,
Yeah.
and that's just where I was coming from with
Yeah, I
that.
could see that too. Yeah, have it more, yeah, with those lines of dialogue so you can use it as an educational tool for younger people. That would have been another way to tackle it, and that would have been a great idea right there.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't go that way besides it being like, oh, so much is happening in the plot.
Hmm.
Want to
Hmm.
keep it very Disney PG friendly. They don't want to offend anybody on any side or anything like that. So I don't know if they kept it surface on purpose, I guess is what I'm
I
saying.
would guess that they
Yeah.
did because that sounds like a Disney thing to
Yeah.
do. It
But
really
as we
does.
know, Disney will put stuff in their movies that adults will totally pick up on, but kids
Right.
won't. So it's kind of Disney's signature there.
Right, right. Caprice, she's gonna have an '80s kids sing along,
Oh, the
and
movie's
you could
so good.
probably do that.
Yeah.
You
Dig
could
it up,
probably
up
do that.
on, dig it. Dig it up on, dig it. Oh my god, that music's so good.
That song was my jam. It's a hot fudge Sunday, so we just got everybody's throwing out random quotes here. Um, and And Monkey says, huge fan of this film. I love seeing the Ghostbusters 2 judge in the courtroom scene and a deleted scene in the school with all his new friends defending him from a school bully shouldn't have been deleted. I
Oh, I
had
didn't even
no
know that.
idea. So
Yeah.
that's new on me.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know
new to
if
me
you
too.
knew any of that.
No, I didn't
So
know about the deleted scene. I don't even know if they put the deleted scenes in this Disney Club exclusive edition. I didn't think there was any bonus in here, so wish it was.
yeah, I don't know. It's from what I'm hearing about those Disney Club, there's like pretty bare bones.
They don't even put subtitles, I think. Like I don't even think there's a subtitle button, to be honest. Yeah, they're
Wow.
very bare minimum to where it's like, why? But I'm like, I
Wow.
need the movie in my collection anyway, so I'll pick it up.
All right. I do have a couple fun facts for Holes. I'll put them up as we go. And this one, the onions that Stanley and Zero are eating towards the end of the movie are actually apples wrapped in an edible cover. So I thought that was cute. That was pretty cool. And these onions, pretty much save the day when we we get towards the end of the movie. Um, this camp, I mean, it's Disney, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything when say things work out in the end. Um, how do you this camp? How did they even become a camp that worked with the government? I don't understand.
Such a sketchy camp. It's like 3
Yes,
adults running the whole thing, and I just had another thought. I'm like, "You know what? Couldn't these kids turn on them?" It's like, it's 3 adults, like, there's a ton of kids. There had to been, what, like, hundreds of kids there, it felt like at
yeah,
some points.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, this would not work logistically, especially if they're 100 miles from everybody, and it's only 3 adults just in the middle of the desert with a whole bunch of, I guess, kids that are troublemakers, you could say, right? Because they got found guilty of something and sent to this camp. It's like, yeah, this would not turn out well.
Yeah. Except I will say this: these we find out as the movie goes on. These are not the hardened criminal type kids.
Oh
They're
yeah.
yeah. The these are not they're not going to be showing up in the rated R versions of any of
Oh
these movies.
gosh. Oh man. Could you imagine rated R holes?
These are the kids that would get eaten alive in those movies. So I will say that. So I understand the logistics of it. I went with it. The other thing I kind of just went with was the fact that we get told that the warden's family's been digging up this this area for hundreds of years, for over 100 years now. There shouldn't be left anything left to dig. Nobody, how has nobody found anything in this in a
Well, if
hundred
it's
years?
100 miles long, though, I guess they're just picking the worst spots. Like, it's always
I
the
guess.
last spot you look, so it's the last.
I guess maybe so, maybe so. All right. Is there anything that I didn't touch on about holes that you wanted to mention?
I guess kind of connecting with the fact right here, I really love how there's so many things that are connected that come back later. Like the onions that are mentioned, that comes back later, right? Stanley Yelnats and the different generations and the curse, that comes back later. So I love just how intertwined everything is in the movie and how there's so many connections between everything. Like we get to the sploosh at the end with the peaches and the onions, and that's
Yeah.
really cool. And then they bring Sweet Feet back. I'm like, oh, okay, I love how connected this movie is. That's where I think it keeps up that easy to follow pace. There's so many interconnectedness throughout the movie.
Yeah. Shout out to Rick Fox. Rick Fox plays the guy that winds up in the Sploosh commercial. If you're a basketball fan, you know who Rick Fox is. Another fun fact here. This one was and I'm sorry because it's like really small right now. But anyway, this one is the author of the book. He actually had a cameo in the movie, as you can see right there. He has a line in the movie. I did not realize that until I looked it up. And then
Oh,
my last fun fact about holes. This one is about Dule Hill, who played Sam, and he winds up in later years winds up on a show called Psych, and
mhm.
his character actually references holes in that show with the line he says here. It's just like Weaver. So that I thought that was pretty cute. Um, I will go through the chat, see if anybody's got anything else to say about holes before I give my final thoughts about the movie. This is back when Disney Channel was great. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, that is when my kids were watching Disney Channel for sure. Huck is here. What's going on, Huck? He says, "Hey, everyone." And Huck, also a former guest on the show. My guy, Big Chris Floyd House Flicks is here. He says, "All I want to say is Mike's beard is epic."
Thank you.
That is very, very fair. He says, "Hey to the chat." Sully Streams, welcome to my channel. I don't think I've seen that name in my live chat before. He says, saw the bike riders earlier this week and really dug it. Tom Hardy should sneak into the best supporting race if I had my way. I do like Tom Hardy, so I would not be surprised if that were case. This is my guy Patrick. He says here for the Spider-Man 1977 chat. Him and I were going back and forth earlier today about that epic TV show from the 70s, the Spider-Man show. Have you ever seen that, Mike?
No, I have not. I'm
It,
curious now.
it's a live action show. It ran for a couple of seasons in the late 70s. And it's if you watch it, I would say watch it ironically. Watch it ironically these days. Yeah, it's special effects are bad, costumes wonky, the story is kind of weird, but as a kid I grew up watching it and it was fun back then. Had you read the book Holes before you watched the movie? I definitely have not. Did you read the book?
So I watched the movie when I was young, and then I picked up the book at a book fair, and I didn't get through the book. I started reading, and I'm like, you know what? I don't like books so much. I'd rather watch movies.
I I all right, next says, I'm still waiting for Tombstone. We'll get there at one day, I'm sure. 80s kids says sci-fi is my genre. Um, we're gonna talk a little sci-fi a little bit in a little bit. We're gonna talk about it in a little bit. And Tombstone, I guess, is Chris's is Big Floyd's favorite western. So all right. Now duly noted. Prince is here. This is my Dell Movies debut. Yes, it is. Welcome to the channel. This is greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks of you to stop by. I really, really appreciate it. We got people throwing out random movies they want to see on here. Have Gun Will Travel. I've never seen Have Gun Will Travel, or I think that was a TV show also. Um, Huck saying hi to people. We got a lot of people saying hi to each other, and we got a lot of back and forth here going on. I'm just skipping around. So if I skipped over your highs and to each other, it's just because I want to kind of get through things. Uh, I don't remember Holes, not my generation. I don't think. Yeah, you and I are in the same generation. And I was telling Mike at the top of the show, my daughters watched Holes, but I never did. So I got to see it this week. Huck hasn't seen Holes either.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be a collector's club recommendation. All
There
right.
you go. He said he did get the Blu-ray, so he needs to see it. There you
Oh,
go.
no good. Yes.
There you go. There's sorry about that. Patrick says Holes is a fine movie, and Prince says there's the best uncle of them all. Greetings, Uncle Tony. So he's talking to Tony, who's in the chat, who said hi to him. All right. Oh, and I did not mention this at the top of the show like I wanted to, but RIP to Donald Sutherland, who is an all-time great and iconic actor. He passed away today. And Dell is flying that Spidey 1977 t-shirt. This is not the 1977. This actually, I'm gonna stand up a little bit and I'm gonna make myself big for just a minute, Mike. Uh, this shirt is an iconic comic book cover that was actually done by Todd McFarlane, who, if you know who he is the creator of Spawn. And before he went on and created Spawn, he worked for Marvel, and this was the cover of his first Spider-Man comic book. So it made its way to a T-shirt. I had to have it. It is a great cover. All right. So, and he says Holes was PG-13. Was it
Wasn't
PG-13?
it? Oh my gosh. Well, it
I
does
don't
go
know.
some dark places with like what happens to Sam and whatnot, but really PG-13.
Is it? I
Oh,
thought
it's
it was
PG. It's
It's
PG.
PG. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was PG.
I'm
Okay.
like, oh wow.
Mikey Prince says, Mikey, I gave you Ghost in the Shell. Correct the Neon Genesis
Oh yeah, yeah.
Evangelion movies to
Talking
you.
about Ghost in the Shell. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So let me give my my overall thoughts on I'm sorry, one more. Bell and Dell, when it comes to basketball talk, I'm sure we can vibe. My man JJ Redick is on the coaching job for the Lakers now. Giddy to Bulls, Caruso to OKC, Shy Caruso, Magic loading baby. I'm a Knicks fan, so none of that means a whole lot to me. But the JJ Redick thing is interesting because he's very, very, very young and he actually played against LeBron. So I don't know how that's all going to work. All right. So let's another time though, Prince. We can definitely vibe on some basketball. All right. So my overall thoughts on Holes. Well, I will say the first thing is, yeah, 2 hours. I thought it was a little long in the tooth. An hour 40, hour 45 would have been this. It's the sweet spot for a movie like this. I think could have just cut down the repetitiveness with the kids, even cut down the family because everything they did was just kind of I wouldn't say inconsequential because, like you said, it all connects. It comes back, right? It's just the way that they connected it. I didn't really appreciate that much. I was like, could you guys be doing something other than a way to find or do what you're trying to do? Because they were trying to do this whole thing with eliminating foot odor from shoes is what they were trying to do. And I was like, and yeah, I mean, they linked it to the onions and all, but I was like, it was tiring for me for them. So yeah, hour 45 would have been the sweet spot. Otherwise, the story worked pretty well. I was much more intrigued with the kissing Kate and Sam story, and it was just that it was for me. It was just better done. right? I don't think it's enough for a standalone movie because it would probably it could well, I take that back. It could have been a standalone movie. Um, but they did tie it in well with what's going on with the kids, and we get the kids, we get that whole storyline wrapped up with Zero. I wasn't necessarily a big fan of Zero's backstory, but I did like
Mm,
him as a character. And the actor, I forget his name but I've seen him in a lot of things over the years. But I thought he did a really good job. So all in all, everything worked. It flowed together nicely. It got tied up in a neat little bow at the end, which is par for Disney's course. So I'm not really knocking it for that. Uh, just a little long, and the parents thing just kind of were annoying. Um, Overall, though, good movie. Overall, good movie. I would say three and a half stars. If we were talking about stars a little earlier, I would probably say 3.5 stars, which is
Hey,
equates to
I'll
about
take
a
it.
7 of 10.
I'll take it. 3 is a good score, like I said.
Yeah, yeah. So I will say, yeah, that's a win. I would call that a win for my guest. So I did enjoy the movie. There have been movies on here that I have not liked. So some and just see we got some more comments about holes. The monkey says, I loved how the warden lives in Kissing Kate's schoolhouse. Yep. I told you I was a huge fan. Yeah, he's just pulling that out. Culture Trini is here. What's going on, Trini? He says, what up? What up? And Princess Dell knows my name. Mikey, take notes. So
What,
did you
do I
not
not know
call
your
him
name? Happy Optimist, what do you mean?
his actual name? His birth name's Prince.
Oh, nice, I'm gonna take note of that. There we go.
Yes, yes. I know it because Prince is like my all-time favorite artist. So it helps. it definitely helps. McFarlane Spider-Man is my jam. Yep. And hey, Trini just saying hey to others. And fair enough. I think he's talking to me about the basketball. And what looks like the DVD preview for Holes lied about the rating. Ooh, I don't know that. I've not seen that. And was Sam a Zeroni? No, Sam was whatever Stanley is. No, Sam was not a Zeroni. Sam was not a Zeroni. Zero was a Zeroni.
Yeah, and Madame Zeroni, that was the
And Madam
connection of
Zeroni.
Zero. Yeah,
Right.
Sam
That's
wasn't related to anybody in that movie, I don't think.
No, no, but I did think it was a very, very nice touch with the whole it stopped raining
Oh,
when
yeah.
Sam was killed, and then we get the scene of the rain at the end
Oh, such a
in
good moment.
conjunction with Zero's character. I thought that was just
Mhm.
fantastic. That was a great, great moment. So I really did appreciate that. And the monkey Cleo Thomas played Zero and was in Friday After Next before in Holes. Yes, Friday After Next, he was in that movie, and he's been in a few movies. Like I said, I've seen him in some things over the years, and of course, Prince is chiming in with the Purple Rain chorus. Absolutely. All right, so let's move on to let's go back here. Let's hide that. All right, so let's move on to the second movie of the evening. So as much as you were surprised that I had not seen Holes, I was very surprised, shocked even, almost appalled that you had not seen this action sci-fi classic. And of course, I am talking about Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man. So, and knowing that Mike, you're an action guy, I was like, he's had to have seen Demolition Man. But I remember talking to you on the stream, and you had mentioned you had not, so I had to bring it up. The plot for anybody out there who has dared not to see it. Um, Sly is a police officer in 1996 Los Angeles, which was like barely in the future when this movie was made. Um, and it's gone to hell and in LA, and particularly in South Central, where one Simon Phoenix, played by Wesley Snipes, has taken over. And Sly's character's name is John Spartan, and he's going down to take down Simon Phoenix, who has apparently taken hostage a bus full of hostages. And he's got to get those hostages back and hopefully take down Simon Phoenix in the process. Well, of course, they get into it, big fight, whole lots of stuff goes down. and we find out that the hostages are indeed dead. And Simon Phoenix kind of utters something like, because of the big fight, he's like, I told him the hostages where the hostages were, but he didn't believe me or he didn't go after him. He just said he wanted to take me down. So for that, John Spartan is thrown in jail with Simon Phoenix. However, this is not just regular jail. They are cryogenically frozen. Each of them is. And I know that John Spartan is sentenced to 70 years from 1996. And so he's frozen in one block, and Simon Phoenix is frozen in another block of ice. And we flash forward to Los Angeles in 20, I think 33. And Simon Phoenix has escaped because he has a parole hearing and he just goes wild and kills everybody. And the police are ill equipped to deal with it because by this time, Los Angeles is now a town that is completely built on peace. You can't curse, you can't swear, you can't touch anybody. There's definitely no violence, no graffiti. The walls automatically take the graffiti down, and they're ill equipped to deal with this. So they wake up John Spartan to go catch Simon Phoenix, and that's the plot. All right. So first place I'm going to start with you is 1996 Los Angeles. You're in California, but not in Los Angeles. Am I right?
No, I'm about 4 hours away from there. Yeah.
4 hours from Los. Any signs in California that was coming in the '90s?
Oh gosh. I feel like it is that way now because I've been to Los Angeles plenty of times, and yeah, it's pretty tough over there. It definitely is. I don't know, a fixer upper, you could say. It definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, that makes sense right there. But I'm like, oh, in 2035, it's gonna be like this future world. That's awesome. I'm gonna go back to LA in 10 years. It's gonna be great. Graffiti's gone, everything's cleaned up. This is gonna be awesome. Only 10 years away, right?
Only 10 years away, right? Not that far. Not that far. All right. So, what'd you think well, first, what'd you think of Sly's character right at the beginning, John Spartan? Just
Oh
at the very
wow.
beginning.
Yeah, I mean, and it shocked me too because a lot of movies don't go this way with the hero character where, oh my gosh, the hero made a mistake. He didn't know about the people in the building and, then he gets sentenced to 70 something years and frozen and all that. You're like, wow, that was a little shocking because at first, okay, Stallone, he's going to be the superhero of this story. He's the good guy. We're going to root for him, but right away, it just kind of turned it on you with, oh no, a lot of people died in this whole situation at the beginning. And basically, Wesley Snipes' character, Phoenix, pulled one over on him. He was kind of the Joker in that situation where it's like, oh,
Oh yeah.
you caught me, cool on you. But then all this chaos happened. And you were so blinded by getting me, you didn't realize what was going on in the background. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a true supervillain to deal with right there. So that was just a shocking opening to me.
Yeah, and Phoenix was definitely Wesley Snipes definitely giving us his Joker throughout the movie. He was definitely giving us his Joker, his version of the Joker, and I really appreciated that. How do you feel about Simon Phoenix?
Oh my gosh, he was awesome. And he was a true threat. He was dangerous because he was a strategic thinker, but he was unhinged. So he had that Joker side to him, but he was very athletic as well and could throw down. So he kind of had that Bane side too. So he was a physical threat as well. So I'm like, this is a super villain right here. You do not want to mess with this character, especially when you go into the future and the cops are like, we're not equipped to deal with this. What's happening? And it's just like Phoenix is having a field day, just doing whatever he wants at that point. So they gotta have Stallone.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was definitely just destroying things left and right, and killing people left and right. And well, how did you like when they finally the police get alerted to the murders? And I thought it was cute. I always think it's cute and funny. I don't know how you reacted to it. That they had to look up what the code was and then figure out what was happening.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. I mean, this movie has some comedy in here, which I really appreciated. And he's like cussing too, and they're giving him little tickets. It's like a cussing violation. Now the cops are going to show up on your second swearing violation. And
Yeah.
yeah, they're looking it up. They're like, oh, what do we say? and they give them the lines of dialogue to say, and they just keep repeating it. They don't know what else to do. And they're just used to the peacefulness. Apparently, it was been so peaceful over there, and it's like, oh well, not peaceful anymore. You got this supervillain to deal with, so what are you gonna do now?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what can you do, right? Nobody knows how to deal with this at all. Right? We got one character. We got Sandra Bullock, who is the police officer, and uh she's enthralled. She's fascinated by the 20th century, or as they everybody else seems to refer to it, the vile 20th century. She's got a lethal weapon poster on a wall, and she's got all kind of artifacts from the 1990s, 80s, and 90s up. And so she's kind of gung ho about this. She's like, "Hey, this is kind of what I've been waiting on. I've been bored this whole time as a cop."
Yeah,
Could you
she's
relate?
excited. She liked the taste of danger. She wants something to happen. She's getting bored over there. So I really like that. Yeah, she was great in this movie. Had a good personality about her too, and then she has that charm where she kind of gets a little flirty with with John Spartan a little bit.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. We actually get something we don't usually see. Technically, we get it. We get a Sandra Bullock sex scene.
Not what you were expecting. I'm like, ooh, it's gonna be this kind of movie. Oh no,
Right,
it's a
right.
little
So
different.
yeah, go ahead, just if you would, just describe the sex scene and then kind of your reaction to what was going on.
Yeah, so
And
they had that big action moment, and
what's up,
then
Holly?
John Spartan goes back to Sandra Bullock's I guess house or living space, and she's like, "Oh, do you want to have a sex now? Like, do you want to do this?" And Spartan's kind of, "Oh, really?" Like, just, "Oh gosh," kind of, "Yeah, why not? This sounds like a good time, right?" And so she leaves, and you're like, "Oh, what's gonna happen? Is she gonna come out naked or something wild like this? Is that what the movie's gonna turn into?" And then she brings out this device. It kind of reminded me of like the cone heads where you put that device on your head, and she's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, this is how we're gonna do it now." And Spartan's like, "What the heck is this? This is not how I
right.
used to do it." And so it's like flashes of images, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, what is this? Like, I like the old ways." He's more traditional. He-
Definitely.
and she's like, "Oh, you mean that vile way where they did fluid transfer? That is outlawed. You can't have fluid transferred anymore. It led to this and that and the downfall of society." And she's like, "You can't even have mouth fluid transfer." He's like, "Not even kissing? Damn, I was a good kisser." So the comedy was really good in there. I love that. That was so funny.
Yeah, it was, and that scene actually takes place after we find out. This is another fascinating little tidbit or fact that happens in this movie. We find out that all the restaurants are now Taco Bell.
They
Are
won
you a
the
Taco
franchise
Bell fan?
wars.
Yes, they won the franchise wars.
Oh
Do
my
you-
gosh, that was hilarious. No, I'm not a Taco Bell person. I guess maybe back in the day when I was younger and I could get away with eating tons of junk food. But that was really funny. It's like, yeah, every restaurant now is a Taco Bell. And they show up and they're like five-star dining restaurants. It just has the Taco Bell name.
Right,
You
right.
got 'em.
And then they had the little I don't know what those things were. I guess they were little tiny burritos or something they look like. I don't know what was not even burritos. I don't know what they were. But that was interesting. Let's see if I know if one person did pop up, and that is Bob from Bob's Blu-rays. What's going on? He says howdy. Thanks for stopping by, Bob. He's been doing some great things lately. He's got people recommending him a list of movies and talking about those movies. And of course, the game nights are spectacular uh, and tiring. I took place in one, but had very very much fun. Prince just saying hi to him. And Holland, Demolition Man, oh baby, yep, Demolition Man. There we go. And of course, MDK, Murder Death Kill, Murder Death Kill,
I know. I
Murder
love how they kept
Death.
saying that too. It's like they really want to drive that home.
And this is T says this is more my speed. Yeah, Demolition Man. I get it. I get it. Definitely, absolutely. And this one, yes,
Oh yes.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm waiting for it, especially that final battle, which we'll get to at some point. But yeah, I think that would look fantastic on 4K.
I don't know
Uh,
how
s-
it doesn't have a 4K. You think of all the movies that come out on 4K and you're like, "What is this? I've never even heard of this." And then you have a good movie like Demolition Man, you're like, "Why does this not have a 4K? What is happening here?"
that's right. T says Simon Phoenix is one of the greatest villains ever. I will agree. I'm not sure if Mike agrees or not, but I would agree.
Oh, he was great. Yeah, he had a ton of personality and was definitely a threat, so, yep.
Yep, definitely. And you are fined one credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute. I think he's talking to your damn Mike, and now mine. Monkey Demolition Man, one with the most rewound tape scene. I wore out that cassette with that headset scene.
Oh my I know, right? You're,
But
like,
you don't.
expected to see something and then, oh, no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Monkey. You don't really see much in that scene. A little bit, but it's more seizure inducing than anything else. So, and yeah, we got Taco Bell. I'm not a Taco Bell guy either, so I fully understand. When I was younger, yeah, maybe so. And I'm still trying to figure out how the three seashells
I
work.
was thinking about that too. I'm like, I guess you gotta scoop it out with one of the
That is kind of the theory that I've seen floated out there. Is that's kind of what you do with it, and I don't. There are some theories out there. I don't know if anybody has given a really good answer. So I'm kind of looking things up as we're talking, trying to see if there's another answer out there that I haven't seen. But yeah, everybody's been trying to figure it out since the movie came out. 80s kid. I was born in '96. Prince, in my opinion, looks like Dennis Rodman in this film thanks to his hair. Well, I am so glad you mentioned that because I have a fun fact for Demolition Man 2. And it is this one. He shaved his head. He did not like the blonde look in this movie, so he shaved his head right after filming. But Dennis Rodman did see Demolition Man, took inspiration, and dyed his hair. So there you have it. There's the
Ooh.
connection. So interesting that you would say that. All right. So getting back to the movie, three seashells aside for a second. Um, How did you think the story flowed along throughout the movie, if that was important at all? Because in a movie like this, it may not be important.
Yeah, I like the pace overall. I would say I felt this one was a little bit more longer. You could have maybe shaved off 10 or 15 minutes. I think when they got into the underground people, that's where it kind of tuned me out a little bit, where it started to lose me here and there. But other than that, I thought I had a decent enough pace. I wasn't ever bored with the movie. You had a great opening, pretty entertaining throughout, good jokes in there, and it kept the story moving along, and then you had a good finale, so I didn't have any major issues with it overall.
Okay. And the action scenes themselves?
Yeah, the action was fun. I wouldn't say the action was something I haven't seen before, it's not like, "Oh, a John Wick action," now that we've seen so many wild action scenes in modern movies, yeah, the action was good, it just wasn't, like, mind-blowing.
Fair enough. It was, yeah. It's, yeah. In 30 years since the movies come out, we've seen a lot. So
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that. And yes, this was a thing in the movie. President Arnold Schwarzenegger
Oh, that was
put me
great.
back in the fridge. Yeah, that was a very, very good line, especially since at that time they weren't friends like they are now. They were still in the kind of in the midst of their feud, over who was the biggest box office star. So that was a very, very cool bit of shade that slide through. And yeah, we got Arnold and 80s Kid. I've not seen this movie. Check it out, especially if you're an action fan or sci-fi, like I said. So yeah. Prince, question for the both of you. What's one of the movies that you watch that is considered a one and done watch for you? I have some. I You know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm gonna put a star in that comment, and after we finish up with Demolition Man, we'll come back to that. How's that? All right. So stick around, Prince, and we will get an answer for you. I laugh in the face of danger. Yes, fair enough. And you got a conehead sex scene, very saucy. Yes, saucy. And there's Jeff. So sorry I'm late. I will watch the whole replay. Thank you, Jeff. I'm glad you showed up at all. I appreciate it. And Prince Mikey, I need to ask you, Dell. You can hop in. Slipcover or steelbook? Well, go ahead. We'll tackle that one. Slipcover or steelbook, Mike?
Used to be steelbooks until we saw the new prices. Now I'm
Oh
priced out.
man,
Now it's slipcovers.
yeah, they're getting crazy with the prices on steelbooks. You know, if they were all things considered equal, I'd go steelbooks
Yeah.
too. But hey, I'm just gonna go back to John Doe Juggalo for just a second because I do want to say his channel's blowing up pretty quickly, and I'm very happy to see it. I remember him showing up in people's chats, including mine, and then I remember him starting a YouTube channel. Doesn't seem like that long ago, and he's about to catch me and surpass me in subscribers, and I'm happy for him. I'm very happy. So let's get him up to I think 500 is his next goal. That's like mine. So get us both to 500 if you would.
Oh
That
yeah,
would be cool.
absolutely.
That would be cool. And we just talked about that one. And I saw a lot of Simon Phoenix and Dante from Fast X. Interesting. Did you see Fast X, Mike?
Oh yeah, that was wild fun too. I mean, Jason Momoa right there. He was kind of a Joker character in himself. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
entertaining enough.
Yeah. So what do you think of the comparison between the two, Phoenix and Dante?
Yeah, they're both eccentric and over the top and out there kind of villains. So yeah, I can see the connection right there easily.
Okay. Smirk is here. What's going on? This is what's up, everyone. Glad to see all these people just popping in here tonight and hopefully having a great time. And again, I'm gonna star your questions here, Prince. We're gonna come back to them in a little bit. And Monkey says you hear it, Dell, very well. My hands will I should only watch it after everyone went to sleep. He's going back to that headset scene. Mike Monkey, you had a little bit too much fun with that scene, guy. I understand though. Understood. Especially if you can picture Sandra Bullock and you got to think for Sandra Bullock. So that's fair enough, I suppose. And look at that connection. What a freaking coincidence talking about the Dennis Rodman and Simon Phoenix. And speaking of Simon Phoenix, we're going to get back to the movie itself. I do have another fun fact concerning Simon Phoenix. Well, all of these actually concerning Simon Phoenix. And this one, if anyone didn't know, if you're a Blade fan, you probably know. If you're a Wesley Snipes fan, you definitely know. He's actually a martial artist. He's an accomplished martial artist in real life. And I'm not talking about just like a Hollywood black belt. He's a real deal martial artist. And some of the scenes, his kicks and punches looked a little herky jerky or, didn't quite look as natural. And it's because he was slowing them down purposely for the camera. Because when he did it initially, they were too fast. It was blurry in the camera. And this is something he would get better at because I think this was really his first action movie. He had been in a lot of dramas before this, and he like had a little bit of action in New Jack City, but not much. So this was really his first action movie, and then of course he became a big action star after this. But yeah, I thought that was a cool fact. Um, so when we get through, the how'd you feel about I know you already mentioned the underground people. How did you feel about the twist that wasn't really a twist because they didn't hide it very well? How did you feel about that? As far
Man,
as
I'm totally slipping right here. Was there a twist? I didn't feel
yeah,
like there
yeah,
was. I
they
totally missed
didn't
it.
hide it very well, but eventually it comes back to the top guy. Of course, the guy who runs the city. So
Oh,
how'd you feel about him as a character? Let's just go there.
oh, the top guy, the puppet master, I guess.
Yeah,
He was okay. He was just kind of your standard generic top boss type of villain. I mean, you're really there to see Snipes as Phoenix. He's
right.
really the go-to person. So that part was kind of I've seen it before. Okay, not that exciting. Kind of predictable there. Yeah.
Okay. That is very cool. There were some other familiar faces that popped up in the movie. Benjamin Bratt, Rob Schneider
Oh yeah.
popped up in
All
the
of them.
movie.
Yeah.
So Benjamin Bratt was a different type of role for me from anything I've seen him in at all, because he wasn't the suave debonair kind of guy that he usually is. And I don't know. I thought they could have did a little more with his character. I don't know if you thought about his character at all, because he was just kind of a sideline kind of deal.
Yeah, he
Um,
really wasn't a main focus of the movie. I like seeing him there for the limited lines he had. Same thing with Rob Schneider. Like Rob Schneider was funny with the seashells and all that. But I'm like, oh man, you had Rob Schneider here. You could have even done more with this character. But I
mhm.
guess that wasn't the main focus of the movie. They're just like little side characters. So I'm like,
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, I would have liked more from both of them.
Okay. Okay. Um, as far as let's just tackle a little bit about the sci-fi of it all. Do you think they hit more than they miss, or they miss more than they hit, as far as what the future might look like?
Well, I mean, totally missed in terms of what it's gonna look like because literally that's 10 years later. Is that how anything's gonna look? No way, not even close. But I love the way this movie looked. I'm like, if this was the actual place 10 years later, I would have loved it. It sounded awesome. It was like a paradise. Once again, no graffiti. Everything gets cleaned right away. The self-driving car well, the self-driving cars they got right. They're self-driving cars now, so that part
Yeah.
they kinda got right, that was cool. Taco Bell is everywhere, but of course we still have plenty of other fast foods. So it would be cool if that's how it was like, but no, it's not ever gonna be like that. Maybe 300 more years, but not 10
Maybe.
more years. But I love the way it
I
looked though, it was cool looking.
Yeah, I think one thing they undersold actually was the group meetings. When we get with the top boss and he's got all the monitors lined up along the side
Oh,
of the
yeah.
table. And it was
Mm,
cool looking, I guess. Everybody's face was on it and it
mhm.
turned as he walked. And that was cool looking, but so much more cumbersome, I thought, than a Zoom call or something like that. So I think maybe they cut that one. But yeah, self-driving cars are a thing, but that's that's about it. Of course, well, FaceTime call wasn't a thing back then either. So I guess you can say they got that kind of right. But everybody gets that one right.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That was cool. All right. And anything else about Demolition Man that I we did not touch on that you wanted to mention?
Ah, I think we hit most of the points without spoiling anything. I just liked how it was kind of an everything movie. You had action in it, you had sci-fi, you had comedy, you had the romance in there. So it really covered a lot of different genres to make it an easy watching movie. I think most people would get some kind of entertainment out of this one. And the performances, the all-star cast we had in there, I thought it was very entertaining. So yeah, I would recommend it. It's a good watch.
Okay. So overall, if we go back to that star rating, are we at a 3 or are we a little higher?
Oh, we're higher. We would go with a 4 right here. A
Oh,
4
cool.
is a movie I would watch again. Like a 3 is it's solid, it's fine, but I don't feel the need to rewatch this one. I actually already started rewatching this one in more preparation for the stream, so I got through 1.5 times of
Oh,
this
cool.
movie so far. But I wanted to because it was such a good movie. I'm like, let me go back, let me see if I can pick up anything else in the scenery or in lines of dialogue, and I'm like, there's a lot here to chew on entertainment wise. So yeah, I would say a 4 for me. Definitely would rewatch this one again. And yeah, you need a 4K of this. It's a shame they don't have a 4K of this one. I don't know how this movie hasn't been in my life before. So I appreciate you, Dell, for giving me this title. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. It kind of is a superhero movie in a way as well. So I'm like, that's my go-to genre. It was a perfect fit. You know my taste, Dell. So good job on that.
Yes, yes, it is very much like a superhero movie. I did have one other question. This is kind of something that just watching it this time kind of stuck out to me. If it's been so peaceful for so many years, why do they even have such a big police force?
Oh yeah. I don't
That
know.
that's
Get those swearing violations out there.
I guess so. I guess so. It doesn't detract from the movie. It's just something that struck me this time watching it. All right, Prince says I'm honored. Stars are not my problem. I wait. So yeah, stars are what happens on this side of things. Prince, you got to put a star in a comment so I can go back to it, remember where it is, and then go back to it. So, so that's what is going on with the stars, and he says thank you for following Prince and Music Man Mandel. My man Dell, it's my soon to be Vinyl Haven. Recommendations are welcome. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna think about some recommend. Of course, every album that Prince made, but just as far as that goes. And if you tell me what your favorite genre is, I might have some recommendations. I don't know. All right. Okay. And let's put a star on that one and just see if anyone else is saying anything else about Demolition Man. All right. So let's go back up a little bit and let's find some of these questions that Prince had for us. Let's see. That was the second one, and the first one was here. Okay, so let's go back to this one. What's one of the movies that you watch that is considered a one and done watch for you? Do you have a one and done?
I mean, a ton of movies, so it's tough to pick a specific one. Like, if you get a 3 from me, it's a good solid movie, but once again, I don't feel a need to rewatch it. So that's a lot of movies for me where it's like I don't have the need to go back and rewatch it because I only want to rewatch the ones I most like or my favorite ones. So, yeah, that's
Okay, fair enough. Aside from movies that I dislike, because a lot of movies you dislike, of course, you don't want to go back to. Um, I will say a movie that I like, but I wouldn't say it's an absolute one and done because I don't think any movie's an absolute one and done most of the time. It's just that I wouldn't choose to watch it again. Meaning, and this is what I mean, Prince. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling a little bit. So if I watch a movie and I'm like, okay, that was good, but for whatever reason, I don't want to go back to it. Maybe it's depressing, maybe it's disturbing, whatever the case may be. But if someone around me were to say, hey, let's watch so and so, I'll probably watch it again. So that's the kind of viewer I am. But one of those movies that I probably wouldn't on my own would be something that I liked, that I actually liked or thought was a good movie. Let's say something like 12 Years a Slave. I don't really feel the need to watch it again. I have actually owned that movie, but I don't really feel the need to watch it again. So that's one. Let's do that. And I'm sure there are others out there, but usually it's like if I like a movie, I'm gonna go back to it at some point. All right, here's the next question you have. What's one movie that's underrated that everyone should see more any decade?
cool. But oh man, let me think of something else. Underrated that everyone should see. That's tough. Well, a collector's club recommendation I just got: The Brave Little Toaster. Go see this,
Ooh,
everybody. This movie's awesome. That was a really good one, actually.
believe it
Uh,
or not, I've never seen that one either, but I've heard that was depressing.
really, I
That's what
don't
I've
think.
heard. I don't know. I've not seen it.
Yeah, I don't think it's depressing. It has a happy ending. I would say it's similar to the Toy Story movies. If you like Toy Story, it's along those same lines.
Okay. No, I take that back. It's not the Brave Little Toaster that's depressing that I've heard. It's with the one that's on the Criterion, the animated film that's on the Criterion collection. I can't remember what the name of that
Hmm.
movie is. What is it? Watership Down?
I have no idea. I know
That
there's
it,
Fantastic Mr. Fox on Criterion. I love that one.
yeah, that's good. That's a fun movie. That's a fun movie. Just to add another recommendation, if we're gonna stick with animated movies and go stop motion, Coraline.
Oh, that's a
I
really good one. Yeah.
love Coraline, and I don't know that it's underrated, but I think it's underseen. So,
Okay.
and people I talk to on YouTube and in our movie community, most people have seen it, but in real life, when I talk to people, they don't know what Coraline is. They haven't seen Coraline. So I would say Coraline is one for
Yeah.
me that I would say is underrated or underseen that people need to watch more of. It's really good.
Yeah, I like all those Leica films. So like Box Trolls, Kubo and the
Mhm.
Two Strings. I would
Kubo
say
is
read
awesome.
all of those. Paranorman, like they're all
Yeah.
great.
They are all good. I like Paranorman. I like Box Trolls. Love Coraline and love Kubo and the Two Strings. Kubo, and that's another one you can say, yeah, more people should see Kubo and the Two Strings. I'm messing that title completely up. All right. And was there another one? I Yes, he said Prince also came back with this one, that's which I didn't show. The Crow, Watchmen, Little Miss Sunshine, Tron Legacy. Add that to the stars. Del, I've seen all of those. Give me your thoughts on my four favorite films. Mike, have you seen all of these movies?
I have not. I've only seen half. I've seen The Crow and Watchmen. I have not seen Little Miss Sunshine or any of the Tron movies. So I need to get on that.
What did you think of The Crow and Watchmen?
Oh, The Crow's great. It's a revenge story. It's like The Punisher. So I'm actually excited for the new one. Watchmen. Watchmen's an interesting one. I didn't really care for it when I was super young because I was going into the theater expecting like a fun superhero movie, just seeing like Spider-Man and all that type of stuff. And that's not Watchmen. Watchmen is not that. Watchmen gets some really dark and sad moments in there, and it's very adult. So, but later on,
Yes.
going to see Watchmen, I really did like.
Yeah, it was a little long for me the first time I
Oh yeah,
watched it.
way too long. Oh my gosh.
It's 3 hours long. Um, and I actually haven't seen all the versions of it. I know there's a director's cut and ultimate cut, and I actually have those. So I'm gonna rewatch all of those at some point and see which one I like best. But it is a good movie. It's an ambitious movie. Uh, Zack Snyder movie. If anybody didn't know that, The Crow is awesome. We're getting a remake pretty soon. But yeah, Crow is awesome. Superhero ish movie. And your other two movies, I'm going to start with Tron Legacy. I'm going to say I like Tron Legacy better than the original Tron. It's a more coherent movie and it looks so much better. I mean, of course, it was released 30 years later, so it's gonna look better. The original Tron is groundbreaking for what it was trying to do. I just didn't like the story very much, and of course, the way it looked is very 80s cheesy computer stuff. But I knock it for that. I knock it for the story that I didn't really care for it as much. But Tron Legacy, on the other hand, I don't think it's a great movie, but I think it's a lot better movie. And it's like I said, more coherent and some special effects are really awesome in that movie. So yeah, definitely check that out. And Little Miss Sunshine, I will say, is an absolutely awesome, awesome, awesome movie. It's a it's about a family and it's a family movie, but it's rated R.
Yeah, it's Cohen Brothers, isn't it? Or no? Am I thinking wrong?
No, it's not
No.
Coen
Okay.
Brothers. At least I don't think it is.
Who is
Um,
it? I feel like. Hmm.
yeah, I don't think it's Coen Brothers, but it is rated R, and for a lot of language, right? There's a lot of f bombs in the movie, and just a lot of cussing in general. And they do tackle some very serious themes, adult themes. And there's talk about suicide, and there's mental health, and there's a lot of things going on in this movie. But it's one that if the children in your family are mature enough to handle it, I think they would benefit from seeing. So I wouldn't spring this on like an 8-year old, right? But 12, 13-year old, I would. So it's and I really think it's that good. Um, Abigail Breslin is the little girl in the movie, and I'm curious to see what you would think of that movie because I really do think it is just that good. And it is directed by Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Faris are the two co-directors on Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah, I've
So
heard good things, so I want to check it out. But yeah.
yeah, I would definitely check it out. And there is some talk about Paul Dano, who's in the movie. Paul Dano is so relatable as Dwayne Hoover, yes, in Little Miss Sunshine. Um, yeah, he's a character, and he's a very young Paul Dano. This is way before, uh, even way before There Will Be Blood, or at least a few years before it. I think when actually finished the Ultimate Cut in one day. He's talking about the Watchmen for Prince, and it's my greatest anxiety reliever of all time, probably Little Miss Sunshine. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's an awesome movie in my opinion. And now, Mike, before we wrap things up, I'm going to attempt to solve the mystery. How do you use the three seashells? So, this is Sylvester Stallone was interviewed about this way back in 2006, and here I'm just going to read his quote. He says, okay, this may be bordering on the grotesque, but the way it was explained to me by the writer is you hold two seashells like chopsticks, pull gently, and scrape what's left with the third.
All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't know if that's ever gonna take off. Um,
No, that sounds like so much work and so potentially painful because you're going to scrape
yeah.
something the wrong way.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's inefficient.
Yeah, yeah. Not to mention you got to keep cleaning the seashells now.
I know, right? Unless you throw away the seashells. I don't know if they ever said that. Is it like unlimited seashells?
I don't know. I mean, the ones that he had in his apartment didn't look disposable. I mean, I don't know. And what do you do in a public bathroom? Do you trust
Oh
that?
gosh. Uh, you gotta bring your own seashells for
Yeah,
that.
really. You got to bring your own, right?
Oh gosh.
So that's what it is. Indeed, that's hilarious. Yes, I agree. It is hilarious. It's crazy. Um, why would anybody think that that could replace what we already have is beyond me. Uh, bidets, okay, I can get with
Yeah.
that. Seashells, no, we're not doing that. All right, all right. Mike, we are gonna get ready to wrap it up. Oh, I do have one more fun fact about Demolition Man. I apologize for that I didn't put this up earlier. Sylvester Stallone actually wanted Jackie Chan to play Simon Phoenix. Jackie Chan turned him down because Asian audiences do not like when a person who normally plays heroes suddenly plays a villain.
Mm.
So he's like, nope, can't do it. That would have been a really, really different movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that it would be better. It would be different, that's for sure. All right, Mike. So I'm going to wrap things up here. And of course, I've got to let you have the spotlight and tell the people about Mega Mike, the movie man, what you have coming up on your channel, or anything else that you want us to know. Go for it.
Absolutely. So Mega Mike the Movie Man on all the socials there. So YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I do a lot of different content around the physical media world. I try to keep you guys entertained and up to date on all the latest physical media topics. So I'll do physical media news and rant videos, physical media previews and rankings and recommendations and all that fun stuff. So today I had a video drop where we broke down the physical media numbers, looked at all the different disc formats, saw how physical media is doing overall out there. So that was really fun. If you haven't seen that video, check that one out. Tomorrow, I do have a channel and life update video posting in the morning. So I just talked about, becoming a dad, and that video is going to go over how that's going to impact the channel's content. So I would appreciate you guys to check that one out tomorrow. And then live streams will be coming up in a couple weeks where we're doing our animation collectors club stream, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, just stop on by. You love movies, there's something for you on the channel. Click the subscribe, click the notification bell, and yeah, you'll have a great time over there. But yeah, thanks again, Dell, for having me on, and great recommendation with Demolition Man. What more could I ask for?
All right. And I'm not sure if you were frozen to everybody else, but you look frozen to me, but we did hear you. So that was
Ooh,
the
okay.
important part. So we did hear everything. I'll go back and look and see if you were actually frozen. Not that I can fix it. But yeah, definitely check out Mega Mike and on his channel. Lots of great videos, lots of great live streams going on over there, and lots of guests on those live streams. I've been a guest, as I've said, quite a few times myself. And this is actually the second time Mike's been on my channel, but the first on Movie Swap. So I appreciate you coming on my channel. I don't have any big plans coming up. I don't have a Movie Swap scheduled as of yet. As I've told people that I've got a lot going on, and I don't want to make it sound ominous because it's not ominous. It's actually a very good thing that I have a lot of things going on. So I'm just going to kind of spill the beans a little bit here. Is that my wife and I? We've been. I'm in an apartment right now, and some of you know, some of you don't. I'm in an apartment right now, and we have been working on trying to buy a house, and we were just approved for at least to get a
Woo!
loan. We
Congratulations, man, that's awesome. You get
thank
confetti
you.
for that.
Thank you. There you go. I we so we haven't. We're just really starting the process, so it's so things are up in the air around here because I've got to start packing up. We're looking for We're going to be looking for houses pretty soon, and all those great things, and try to fit that in around working and making some money somehow. So that is why things are up in the air, and that's why I'm not scheduling out movie swaps the way I was before. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is because of my job. A lot of you know I'm a teacher, but I have to do some continuing ed myself, so that's gonna eat up some of my schedule also. So when the dust settles on all that, then I'll probably schedule more frequent movie swaps or none at all. Depends on how much it eats up of my schedule. But I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you for everybody who's been with me throughout this, or if you just joined on board with the family here. I appreciate it, and we are getting close to 500 subs. I am going to do a giveaway pretty soon that there's nothing to do with the sub count, just because I've got some stuff to give away. So look for that video in the next couple days. I'll let you know what the giveaway is and then how I'm going to pick the winner, so on and so forth. And that's really about the only big thing that I have on the horizon right now. Other than, like I said, yeah, I've talked about 500 subs a lot. I'm not a person who generally talks about subs, but when you're staring it right in the face, you want to get there. So help me get there. If you are not already subbed, if you're watching the replay, I would appreciate it. Check out a couple other videos first. Make sure you actually like what I do, because I don't want you to just sub and just not watch me. Okay. So that doesn't do either of us any good. Just gives you another channel littering your list of subscriptions. So do what you got to do. All right. So that's all I have for tonight, guys. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Um, yep, he says wrap this up like a burrito. Now that's what I'm doing. Congratulations, Mike. You'll be a great father.
Thank you.
Another congrats for you, Mike. Uh Tiana came in. She says, hey, and she
Tiana.
just caught the end of it. Thank you for coming in, Tiana. Just subscribed, says T. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, thank you.
This was a really dope live stream. I appreciate it. And oh, yep, Tiana just noticed she's catching the end. Way to go. And yep, I'm gonna stop it right there with Trinity's later Lone Wolf out. Yes, we are out. Bye, everybody.